Today we're joined with JR's Winning Podcast. We're joined by Robert Martini, who is a beach lifeguard in Sarasota County, Florida. And Martini, you're a lieutenant now, is that correct?
Yes, been a lieutenant for 4 years now for the Sarasota County Fire Department lifeguard operations.
Okay. So how long, I'm curious, I was trying to remember, but how long have you totally been a beach lifeguard?
It would
Total
be
time.
21 years, May 1st of this year, as a open water beach lifeguard.
And where did you started off in Manatee County? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yep. Manatee County Marine Rescue Division up in Manatee County in public safety.
Gotcha. So that's Bradenton area. How long were you with that department or that agency?
I was with Manatee County Marine Rescue for 2.5 years.
Okay. And then you came over to Sarasota, Florida, right? To
Yes.
Sarasota County.
Yep, Sarasota
Yeah.
County, and joined the Sarasota County. I think it was called Marine Rescue. Then they went to Beach Patrol, and they recently been moved underneath the fire department. So we're now the Sarasota County Fire Department Marine Ops Division.
Hey, that's okay. That's all
Yeah,
right. Um, now I'm kind of curious because a lot of people, some people get out of high school and it's like my son Zach. I don't know if you know Zach or not, but he's a
yeah, I remember
firefighter
Zach.
EMT. So, he didn't, he just kind of veered into that type of work due to, he was on the beach all the time and kind of just developed this affinity for public safety. A lot of people might even go to college, they might get a master's degree, but they end up getting a job totally unrelated to what their education was all about. How did you yourself even get into or even have a notion to even try to become a beach lifeguard? How did that come about?
Well, I was kind of going the same route, just like your son, Zach, to go get your EMT, then go to the fire department. At the time, here in Sarasota County, it was very difficult to join the fire department. So I worked with Manatee County EMS for a year, doing transportation and working that with them. Um, I really didn't like it so much. You basically are getting up at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning to go basically to a nightmare, and you're constantly transporting people. It just really wasn't something I was very interested in. And then I was always at the beach. My grandmother had a condo on Anna Marie Island, and she said, "Well, if you don't like it so much," and I was also doing body removal too on the side to make a little extra money. And I was just like, no, I kind of want to get out of this profession, maybe do the lifeguard thing for a little bit because I was only 18 and didn't really know what to do. And I was going to community college part time, and I just fell in love
Okay.
with it. The lifeguard, just being outside, being athletic. That was kind of like what I really liked was the lifestyle and the EMS profession. A lot of them are kind of larger people, and I just didn't see myself being that way. So that's why I kind of got into lifeguarding because I was still doing EMS calls and stuff, but I was doing non-transports, and I was basically doing basic life support until the rescue showed up to take him to the hospital.
Gotcha. So you kind of touched base on something that, just want to kind of hear, what you have to say. But with where you're at right now, what types of training and or certifications have you had to go through or attain with your career as a beach lifeguard?
Well, I'm also an EMT with the state of Florida, so I had to go to EMT school. I'm also EVOC trained, which allows me to drive emergency vehicles, fire trucks, rescues, ATVs, beach patrol trucks. I'm also a rescue diver. Actually, I went as far as a master diver, and I was doing instructing part time on top of lifeguarding to get a little extra money, but. I also have my high surf training with the jet skis. So I'm advanced tactical rescue trainer on high surf with the jet skis. And I've taken a couple leadership classes since I'm a lieutenant. So I've gone through the AIL program and here in Sarasota County. And the last certification I need to get, which I'll be going this winter, is the USLA Officer Academies class at the
Yeah.
Breakers, Fort Lauderdale.
Very well, very well. So, because I only say that because a lot of people, they look at what a beach lifeguard does, what a beach lifeguard is, just on that 2 hours they spend on the beach for that particular day, and maybe they do it for 5 days out of the year, and then they go back home to wherever they're from, but that's all they really know, right? So there's really more to honing your skills and being able to act at a moment's notice to be a good beach lifeguard, correct?
Yes, the misconception is that they just see us up there, sitting up there doing nothing. The way I look at it is like the fire department. The only reason they're going to come to you is if you call 911 when you're in desperate need of an emergency. Unfortunately for lifeguards, we don't have that aspect of our job, and our job is to pretty much be reactive, and that's why we're probably the most seen government employee that the tourists and locals see alike. And not only we're actually responding to an emergency as we see it versus being called to the emergency. So I feel like that puts us in a different spectrum just because we're more of a reactive real first responder versus somebody calling 911 and then asking for help. We actually see it happening and we respond as quickly as we possibly can physically for our job.
Yeah, one thing I used to tell folks back, when I was with the lifeguard crew is we're pretty much the only first responder that is responding while the issue is playing out, right?
Correct.
So most of the time, the fire truck will arrive after the car wreck, right? The cop will arrive after the car wreck, or whatever it is. They do have those few incidences where they may respond and the fire is going on and they have to get the victim out. But most of the time, the beach lifeguard is taking part in something that's playing out in real time at that moment. Um, so, and that kind of makes you kind of think a little bit. So, what's the mindset, when you go out, you open your stand, it's nice, got your cup of coffee in your hand, it's a nice day. But what's the mindset of a really good beach lifeguard when they're working that 10-hour shift in the summer when it's 90 degrees outside and beach is packed? What's the mindset that you have to have during your workday?
The mindset is always be prepared. I'm always constantly running through scenarios in my head, both catastrophic and just whatever we might see that might be as small as a lost child, which is wouldn't be that big of a deal for a lifeguard, but for that child or that parent, it's a catastrophic event. So I'm always constantly running scenarios in my head, either a stroke, cardiac arrest, drowning. I'm always trying to be prepared for prepare for the worst. But I'm ready to you got to be ready to go no matter what. So that's kind of how I'm always at. I'm always kind of like thinking what's going on and what could happen.
So you kind of bring up another topic that's very interesting. What do you think is probably the most common non-emergency situation or thing that you might have to deal with as a beach lifeguard on maybe not a daily basis but a weekly basis? They're again not necessarily emergency, but it's common, but it's something you have to deal with on a regular basis.
Besides wearing multiple hats, as you're aware of the public arguing with you about the water temperature or which way the wind is flying, those are just very makes me laugh because they always have like a bet with the what's the water temperature going to be, and it's just always kind of funny. But public relations is by far, I would have to say, our number one thing. Um, it's a non-emergency situation, but like I said, we are the front lines of the Sarasota County government, and like I said before, tourists and locals alike see us more than they see any other government employee in Sarasota
Hmm.
County. So we had to have that good public relations And people are always asking, where's the bathroom? Where's there a good place to eat? Where can I buy some, touristy things here at Siesta Key or Lido Beach, or what are things to do around here? So not only are we good shop stewards for our community, but we also, listen to people's problems. Sometimes we might be psychologists a little bit. But like I said, we wear
Yeah.
multiple hats out here. So I think it's a great thing, and public relations is something I feel every government employee should be really good at, because we are being shop stewards of our taxpayers.
Yeah. So now let's look at just the opposite. What are some of the most major, I guess, emergencies that you may find yourself doing? Maybe not on a weekly basis, but maybe a few times a year, several times a year. What's the worst case scenarios that you have encountered or that you see on a regular basis throughout a year?
Well, here on this coast, you're definitely going to be doing some type of CPR, just because of the geriatric population over here. I think Sarasota County did a survey. We probably have 64% of the people who live in this area are over 60 plus. So
Okay.
I usually, when I'm training new lifeguards, we really go over a lot of scenarios of cardiac arrest, going over what are the signs and symptoms of a stroke, because those are the ones we'll actually see a lot of, because people are walking the beach, they might exert themselves a little bit, they could be suffering from a stroke and not realize it. And, we have to be in that 3 hour window, so they can be able to push drugs to try to stop the stroke from a full blown stroke. But definitely, cardiac arrest would be the number one situation that we see a lot of during the year, and it can be very catastrophic and a very eye opener to a lot of our younger guards that have never done CPR before, and they start to realize like how crucial this job is, because early CPR and early defibrillation is the early part of the chain of survival. And just last year, we had somebody who was 69 years old who just had a massive cardiac arrest on the beach, and our lifeguards were able to do CPR and early shock of the patient. And now he's still alive and comes out to the beach every day, and he's always very thankful for the lifeguards for being there. So it was definitely a lot of shock for our younger guards that participated in the chest compressions of the victim, but um, they're well trained oil machine, and we were able to save a life, which is very difficult, as you know, doing chest compressions and starting CPR. If you don't get on it soon enough, you have a 25% chance of bringing that patient back. So,
Yeah. So there again, that's a broad spectrum of what your day could be like as a beach lifeguard. Um, now, I'm just curious. I know in years past, and I'm sure there still is done, where beach data, statistics, and numbers are kept for daily reports, monthly reports. But do you know, like, I'm just curious off the of our conversation, what is the beach attendance per year for all six beaches? Do you know what that number might be nowadays?
yes, this past year, the Sarasota County Fire Department brought out a survey and posted it that we had 5.5 million people visit our six beaches. Obviously, Siesta had the most because it is the most prestigious beach in Sarasota County,
Yeah.
with almost 3.5 million people. But as you were saying, no, we do guard six beaches, not only at Siesta. Um, and it covers pretty much 3 miles of water that there are lifeguards on. But we actually do respond 36 miles of coastline to any marine rescue call that the fire department is dispatched to.
Gotcha. Very well. So I know back when I left Sarasota County, our number was it's just wild at the growth. So when I left, the average was 4.6 million a year. And now you just said it's 5.5?
5.5 was last year's totals overall, with zero drownings in the lifeguarded swimming area.
That's huge. Um, and so I'm just curious, you have 5.5 million visitors per year. And what's the total staff for all beach lifeguards, full timers, not OPS, but just full time positions?
26 lifeguards, full timers, and that's excluding the captains and our chief.
So when you think about the responsibility and the workload versus this number of people that visit, that's a big disparity. It really is. Um, but that's just the nature of the business, though, right?
Unfortunately, yes. As you were formerly aware of, it's a government agency, and like you had to be very mindful of the tax dollars and what you can do. I mean, I would love to have more lifeguards and higher payer wages for that, but we still have to be very sharp stewards to the taxpayers, and that's who we are trying to protect.
Yeah. No, I can remember back in the day having to go to a county commission meeting and talk about the budget that I was trying to get for the next year. And, so the emergency services would always be behind like another department, another business center. And so there was always other business centers that talk about why they needed more money, right? It could be for this park or this museum. We want to put more money towards to go for this touristy thing. And I know that I would always, I'm very polite, but I had a good relationship with the county commissioners. But I would always say, people aren't traveling 3,000 miles to come here to go visit a museum. They're traveling 3,000 miles to come here and go to the beach. And on a rainy day, they'll go to the museum. I mean, it's just right.
Mm.
So that's how much the lifeguards are really needed. Now, on another note, I'm just curious just personally, tell us about your physical training. How do you keep in shape? How do you keep your mind sharp? Give us a glimpse into Robert Martini's week of physical training, if you will.
Well, as you know, lifeguards get a hour PT time. So all our lifeguards are doing running, swimming, paddling, weightlifting, anything of that nature to try to keep their physique. Because as you know, this is a very physically demanding job, and not very many people can do this job. I mean, I've seen in the past where we can get 30 lifeguards that want to try out, and we only get like two, maybe three people that can pass our tests. Since
Yeah.
we are underneath the USLA organization, they require us to do a half-mile run under 4 minutes or better every 6 months, a 500-meter swim under 10 minutes or better every 6 months, and then we do two rescues. One's with a board, and one is a 200-yard run down the beach around our captain, 50 yards in the water to retrieve a passive patient. And then we do our medical requalification test, which is condenses of one medical and one trauma call that our captain gives us a scenario for, and then we have to go through the scenario with them, and basically, to the best of our ability, try to save the patient. They may throw in a couple wrenches here and there, but as you know, in a real life situation, it never goes by the book, and sometimes you have to think on your feet.
Hmm. So on a given week, how many miles do you think you run and swim on a low week versus a high week?
A low week would probably be like 6 or 7 miles a week. Swimming probably be like under a mile and a half. Paddling is usually around like probably like a 3 or 4, and then surf ski, which is an Australian South African specialty watercraft the lifeguards use. That might be like 6 or 7 miles, and that's on like a low week. And usually
Okay.
on a higher end, if I'm training for a long distance prone paddle, I can almost go 50 miles prone paddling. Runs could be up to almost a marathon, like almost 26, 30 miles a week. If I'm training for something in particular, or getting ready for lifeguard competitions that we have, which are more like sprint, related. But
Yep.
yeah, it's definitely on a higher end. I could probably be easy over the 20 mark for almost all of them.
Yeah. So they're once again very physically demanding, correct?
Correct. I mean, there's not very many lifeguards I know that are almost in my age, being almost 40, that can still do this job and still beat up on the younger bucks that are in their like mid 20s still. So,
Yeah. So now on another note, I'm curious, could you share with us and talk to us about what is the Sarasota Surf Life Saving Association? Because I saw you had a logo, but what is this? What's that all about here in Sarasota County?
So I basically use Volusia Surf Lifesaving Association, and I've been talking to the captains and chief of that operation, and it's a surf club that our lifeguard competition team members and regular lifeguards in general are a part of. With a
Okay.
with a small donation that they pay, in turn, the Sarasota Surf Lifesaving Association pays for their USLA racing fee, which is $30 every year to be a part of that organization, and so they're able to
Okay.
compete for Sarasota County at lifeguard competitions throughout the year. And in turn, the money raised through the Sarasota Surf Lifesaving Association goes directly back into the community as going having lifeguards on their own time volunteering at our local schools and talking about beach safety, the do's and don'ts about coming to the beach and watching out for rip currents and hearing lifeguards flags and whistles. It also brings money back into the junior lifeguard program, which, as you know, when you were here, you helped start, and I helped fund it by doing a 36-mile prone paddle and raising $7,000 for that program, just to get it off and running. And then also we use that money for the competition team, which are the professional lifeguards, to go to regionals or national events so they can
Hmm.
represent their home beach in their home county at these events. And we usually do a really good showing. We actually place in the top five. So Sarasota County has some of the best lifeguards in the state and in the country to in their specific fields. Like my specialty is watercraft, so I usually place very high in the international Ironman, which is a run, swim, paddle, surf ski, which is a very daunting score for a lifeguard to do, which is the all around basically, which we do in gymnastics.
So, how long have you have has your enterprise been in existence? The Sarasota Surf Lifesaving Association. How long have you actually been organized? Is it
I've
fairly
actually
new?
It's fairly new. I am now an LLC nonprofit organization. Before it was underneath a different name. Unfortunately, we had to change it to something else because it had Sarasota County in there, and unfortunately, the county can't have anything like that. So, talking to the beach chief and the captains in Volusia, and which is Daytona Beach, they actually have the most prestigious surf club in all the country, and I basically copycat what they had by talking to a lawyer and accountants to make sure that everything cross my T's and dot my I's to be a legitimate surf club, which is has taken me a little while to start, but it's something I really hope I can keep growing as I continue my profession. Because as of right now, I only will have 9 more years left to go before my career as a beach lifeguard will be over. I'll be at 30 years as an ocean lifeguard.
That was one of my questions in a moment. But now, where do you want to take? I mean, where do you? What's your vision for the Surf Life Saving Association here in Sarasota? Well, I mean, where do you want it to take it? What's your? Do you have a large goal, or are you just seeing how you can navigate the waters? No pun intended. But what do you see happening with this?
I see this being a huge community outreach program where I would love to see, you know, more of the youth get into our profession. I feel like a little bit it's kind of getting to be a dying breed, being a beach lifeguard or a waterman. We are surrounded by water, canals, estuaries, lakes, ponds, oceans, Gulf. And it amazes me how many people do not know how to swim that live in this beautiful state that we live in on a peninsula. And I just want to get
Hmm.
more of the word out, like how important it is to early swim lessons. Watching the lifeguards and what their flag systems are, asking the lifeguard because that's what they're there for. They're there for you, for your safety. And I mean, just yesterday, a 17-year-old boy off of Indian Rocks Beach drowned, and they found his body last night, and in a non-lifeguard area. Maybe if they had
Wow.
signs or if they had like a flag system, or if those municipalities would be more interested into having lifeguard agencies take over those beaches, we may have a safer area because more people die from rip currents more in Florida than lightning strikes, shark attacks, hurricanes, and tornadoes. And that was put out by the Weather Channel back in 2011 when we actually had more drownings than anywhere out of those ones I mentioned to you. So it's something I would love to see grow. And if I can save one person's life, and that'd be huge. That's an accomplishment. I mean, that's like I said to a lot of people. If you work in the profession of being a banker or an accountant and you lose the company $1 million, basically saving someone's life is like winning $1 million and helping them understand that you're able to save a life and that father and mother don't have to go home with an empty car seat on the way home.
Yeah, we can circle back later, but you're talking. I just had kind of like a little epiphany because I'm kind of retired, semi-retired, but I'm still working, right? And with what I do with the Ayers Academy, and over a third of what I do is all water related, and so I've always been a big proponent of just the water safety thing in general. And so maybe we could have another conversation and chat because maybe there's a way that Airs Academy could do its part to help with your associate you with what your idea where you want to take it. And because I remember back when we got involved with the city of Sarasota, the beach lifeguard crew, that is, and we were working with a local neighborhood here in Sarasota County, and we had some of our lifeguards teaching free swim lessons at Arlington Pool. Um, and we weren't charging the public. We paid our own lifeguard crew to do this. But we only did it maybe 2 weeks out of the year, but we were still trying to do our part in the community, right? So maybe we could circle back here and chat about that. If not now, later. But maybe there's a way to I don't know, collaborate. Maybe to impact the community. Now you kind of touched base on something which I thought was kind of funny. You said you got 9 years left. Is that like a hard stop, or is that just what you're kind of guesstimating? Or do you feel your body starting to take its toll with all the training? I mean, how are you? What's your barometer for this time frame?
The time frame is just seeing like 9 more years and boom, I'm at 30 and I could retire or keep going. Physicality wise, I'm still considered a huge threat in the lifeguard community. Like during races, I still place very high and open in age group. So I'm not physically tired or anything, but I've been out in the sun a lot for 21 years. I've had skin cancer removed off of me several times, so I'm usually pretty well.
Mm,
Wear the
mm,
lifeguard shirt. I'm underneath the umbrella, things of that nature. Um, I'll probably keep on going, and, to help my children go through college. But I
okay.
also have a business through with my wife, the Wandering Whale, that's doing very well and it's starting to grow. And I may have to leave to help this other passion that my wife and I have. So it's kind of like I'm not sure what I'll be, but I probably will still be lifeguarding because I really enjoy helping people and making this community a great place because I love Sarasota County and I love where it's going and it's one of the most premier spots to move to and live and I think we get um, a little bit jaded about like how beautiful we live in this area where people want to vacation to, and we basically live in paradise where people vacation. And I think people don't realize that when they leave, and then a year later they come back and forget how beautiful this area is.
Yeah, you're right. I left Sarasota County in the summer of 2021. Moved to Boca Raton, and I love Boca Raton. I love Del Rey. In Boca Raton, you can be. I was just at the Breakers a month ago, and went up there just to walk around the property and ate dinner at one of the more modest price restaurants. But it's Palm Beach, and so it's amazing in that area. Like I mean, Fort Lauderdale, 30 minutes, but the beaches over here, and I can tell you this for a fact. One of the wildest things that blew me away when I moved to Boca Raton and I would go to the beach. Um, you go in the park. One, you have to pay for a pass to park at the beach, and if you don't, you can't get in the gate to park at the beach unless you have a sticker on your car, or you pay $25 a day. All right. So even with that, you park and then you walk out to the beach. Even on a Saturday and Sunday, Martini, the beaches are not packed like they are here. And so, and there again, that's Boca Raton area, Delray, not Fort Lauderdale, right? So one thing I realized was there's not, even in Fort Lauderdale, people go to the beach, but there's not really a beach culture, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Over here, massive beach culture almost along the whole Gulf Coast, right? I did notice a major difference in the type of patron that I would see on the beach on the East Coast versus on the West Coast. So I think you're right. It's easy to take for granted our community, our neighborhood, and I don't know, all this beautiful water. Where it's Minnesota Key or Lido Key. It
Mm-hmm.
is easy to take it for granted. So I'm right on that with you. Um, Now I'm just curious, and you kind of touched base with it a little bit, but as we getting near to the end of our conversation, but one, what do you think the median age of Sarasota County Beach Lifeguard crew is right now? What's the average age if you had to guess right now?
We're probably in the mid 30s right now. We did have a turnover. There was a lifeguard shortage after COVID, and that kind of made a huge hit for multiple, not just our division, but lifeguard in general in the country. Um, and then the municipalities had to bump up the pay and everything, as you know, because of inflation and
Yeah.
people find other jobs, things like that. But I would say right now we are probably in the mid 30s, which is considered an old lifeguard department. Usually, you want your lifeguards to be in the mid 20 range. But if that shows you anything, is that how lifeguards that I've been here with are still here.
Yeah. I can remember when I was with the lifeguard crew. I think we did a review one year, and our captain at the time, Roy, Captain Ralph. I think he came back and he said our average age was like 44,
Mhm.
45 back then. But there again, that means a lot of experience, right? People know how to respond to an emergency. They don't get stressed out. They don't panic or what have you. But now with that median age that you just put out there, you talked about the sun, you talked about skin cancer. I don't know if you had to say the main challenges of just being a beach lifeguard, no matter what the age. What do you think are some of the main challenges, even if it's maybe two or three, just to do this job?
I think the first thing, I hate to bring it up, but red tide is very detrimental to the lifeguard. We actually wear respirators just to work the beaches because people still come to the beaches, and they're finding more and more that due to heavy levels of concentration of red tide could lead to lung cancer. As Mo Marine is still trying to find more studies and doing more testing, they found that it's very, it's a neurotoxin basically you're breathing in, which is,
Yeah,
a natural occurring phenomenon, but that's something that plays detrimental to the lifeguards' health and psyche because we're constantly, the water's very disgusting. It's very unbearable to be at the beach, and the beach patrons that aren't from around here don't know what this is, and it can really suffocate a community very financially as well. That would be the number one. Number two would be the lack of like safety clothing. If there's like a hazmat or a car accident, sometimes our lifeguards are responding to car accidents and they're in their red board shorts and bare feet, and they're trying to help. Um, you know, for whatever it could be. So a lack of protection, or BSI, I would say, for the lifeguard. And the third one would be, as you know, firefighters go into burning buildings and they have protective fire gear, and we actually throw ourselves into rip currents to get out to the patient quicker, because the rip current will take us out to them faster. So we are throwing our lives into a very dangerous situation and not having much protection. And we do it without a hesitation, and we bring people back in from a very catastrophic event, because just as fire, water is just as dangerous of an element.
Very well. Very well. So, yeah, today we're joined with Robert Martini, Beach Lieutenant for Sarasota County Beach Patrol. What's the official name now that you're with in the fire department? What's the official name?
It's the Sarasota County Fire Department Marine Ops Division.
Marine Ops Division. And what beach, would some of our viewers find you at mainly? What beaches do you work the most, Martini?
Well, I'm a North County floater, so I'm primarily at Siesta, but I do 1 or 2 days at Lido Beach. So I pretty much take care of those two beaches.
Very well, very well. We will have to come out and try to find where Martini's at today. It's like what is it? What was the old show? Carmen San Diego. You remember that movie?
Yeah, yeah. You'll find me at the Yellow Lifeguard Tower. That's the tower I'm usually at.
Very well, the Yellow Lifeguard Tower. So, Martini, thank you for joining us today. And we definitely would like to talk to you more about your community work, just that by itself, maybe in the near future.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, you have a good day, Martini. Thank you.